Hello and welcome to day 15 of Adventures in Tarot Casting, a series that I have been doing all month that showcases some of the boards that we create in the different systems that I personally use in my own practice. And the goal for these videos has been just to inspire you to want to perhaps implement different methods into your own reading and, get some joy out of it. So I woke up this morning really focused on Lenormand, and so today's demonstration is going to have a lot more to do with Lenormand than tarot, but I am going to use this oracle deck that I made that is called the Living Proof Oracle, and it's a personal deck because all the images in it are either of me, my ancestry, my family. It's like the whole concept behind the deck was pictures or it didn't happen, so it's like proof of my own personal life, so there's a lot of me in here and my family, and then each word has like things on it. So I'm going to use this as a central focus, and then we're going to bring in Lenormand to kind of play around. But I do want to show you in the Creative Divination Sessions book a couple of the spreads that are solely for Lenormand. And I'm just going to turn to this, and we have the Grand Tableau. And so this spread was basically the first casting board we ever made. It was created to be paired with the tarot tiles, and the tarot tiles, this is like, seeing these two together is the whole reason half of everything that we have exists, right? So the tarot tiles came first. It was my desire to be able to cast the whole full tableau in a small space, and so that's what this has done for me. And you can see that it, these are fairly tiny, fairly small. These aren't even our tiny versions. These are the normal size, but you can see them in comparison to the card. Just want to do just a tiny bit of show and tell before we really get started with the reading, because I want to show you how things can be playful. So this is Sawyer's Lenormand, and this deck is currently out of stock, but it's not out of print. I'm going to be getting them back late summer, early fall of this year of 2022. So stay tuned. I've just been working on other things which have had my focus. So this is the normal size card, and this is the tile next to it. So you can see that it greatly reduces how much space we need on a particular space on a board. So the Grand Tableau casting board spawned all the other casting boards, and the whole purpose for me was I was still learning it, and I still am learning. I don't read the full Grand Tableau still, but I mean, I have a general idea. I am much more proficient in it than I think I am, but I think with me, I like fast and quick, and Grand Tableau generally takes a little bit more time. So there's an 8 by 4 spread. So this is the, my brain's going 4 by 8 by, so this is, you've got the 4 lines of 8 and then a 4 down here at the bottom. And what they do is I've added little keywords, the playing card associations, and then if they're negative and neutral. And a lot of this information, if you're interested in learning the Grand Tableau, and I will link it in the notes, Rana George wrote a book called The Essential Lenormand, and it is my go-to book when it comes to recommendations for people learning that, and also the Complete Lenormand workbook, I think, by Caitlin Matthews. Both of those books will really help you get on your way if you want to read more about the Lenormand and the Grand Tableau and all that. So we also have a board that has the 9 by 4 spread. So it's 4 rows of 9 across, and they have the same information. And this board allows you to actually put down the placements and see what house things are in. So if Fox is in the House of Stars, you can see which house it's in. But the demonstration that I'm going to use today is going to be on our little Lenny layouts. So this is the board that we created for that. And as you can see, it has, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have a room for a chain of 5, and then room for a 3 by 3, which is basically 3 rows of 3. So it's 9 cards. I read mostly with little layouts. This is my preferred method. And in the book, I have the board so you can see it a little bit better. And I'm going to use this for sake of glare and everything. But this shows you what it is. I have the moon phases on there because I like to make things a little bit fancier. So, like I said, I woke up with Lenormand on the brain because I'm actually creating a new Lenormand deck. It will be print on demand, but I will have tile sets, you know, all the things. And it's going to be honeycomb shaped and just, it's basically consuming me. So there's no question as to why I woke up with Lenormand on the brain. So little Lenny layouts, I'm going to show you a few different spreads, and then I'm going to end with the center focus being an oracle card, but you could also do it with tarot. So with Lenormand, it is suggested to read with at least 2 cards, because 2 cards is going to give you, like, one card is a subject and the other card modifies it. So just for sake of show and tell, I'm going to do a 3-card spread. Actually, this month, instead of doing a daily tarot, I've been doing daily Lenormand of 2 cards, and it's kind of been neat to see what theme is unfolding in my tracker. So we've got, you know, again, you can shuffle these cards any way you want. Some people like to fan them out and pull, but I'm just going to take the 3 on the top, and I usually do a center. And so that gives us, you know, you could do 1, 2, 3, or you could just do 1, 2, 3. You know, when you're learning these systems and when you're doing them together, it's best to just kind of go with what makes most sense for you, what is most comfortable. For me, I like doing 1 and then 2 and then 3. So seeing these 3 together tells me that the subject of the matter is the bear. It's our resources. It's what we consume. It's what we, you know, what we eat, what we consume, what we, like, just our resources. If bear was a tarot card, it would probably be a pentacle, you know. And then we have ship. So ship tells us what is going on with the bear. And the bear is saying, okay, well, our resources have something to do with travel, right? It has something to do with that movement of getting from here to there. And if you need something to, like, oh, I really want to know what it is, you know, we can go to the cheat sheet and see all the words for each one of these, you know, all the words for each one of these. And then the 3rd card modifies this one as well. So this explains this and this explains this. So this one is going, okay, well, we have a lot of problems right now with our resources and the ship. And when I see this, I just think of supply chain issues. You know, like, I run an online business, and some of our stuff, like, we're having a hard time getting things, you know, and that is, like, some of the manufacturers that we buy our supplies from are having to raise their prices or having to do things because of supply chain issues. So to me, just seeing these as a quick overview is like, okay, I might run into supply chain issues today because that affects the resources, right? And then I like to build on it. So I'm going to use other cards just to show you the different steps. So then I like to build on this, and I will do, and this is the Linocut version of this deck. So basically the Linocut, I hand carved all of the images and stamped them using a block print method, and now I have that version as well. So we're going to do 2 cards from this to do above and below, and what this does is it gives us a cross layout. So now we have our 3 cards. There's our chain, supply chain issues, right? So above we have the bouquet, and below we have the gentleman, or signifier 28. Let's see, so these cards are unlabeled, they just have the numbers on them, but you can look at it and see that that's a bouquet of flowers and that this is a buck, right? So above and below, so now we have this cross layout, and this weighs down heavy on this. So then you kind of read this as a 3 card, you know, so you go, okay, bouquet, bear, and gentleman. So we might have some supply chain issues, but we can look at this as a gift to see how it's actually affecting our resources. Like, is it actually real or imagined, right? You know, so this stuff is weighing down on the signifier, whoever this is saying, okay, well, but I've been presented with these resources, but how am I supposed to get them out to the world now that we're facing these little issues? One thing to notice too, and to note about Lenormand, is just because there's one negative card in a spread, it doesn't make the whole spread bad. What it does is it just kind of gives like a little bit of, hey, maybe you should check this area of concern, right? Overall, this whole reading is good because it's talking about putting ourselves out there in the world and sharing what it is that we create and what we do, but also keeping in mind that there's always going to be little things that might gum up the works a little bit, you know? And then, so this, I'm just showing you this really quick to show you how I take a 3 card and turn it into a 3x3. I like to build on things. I'll do this with tiles. I'll do this with, you know, everything else too. So now I'm going to use the Flash Lenormand, and the purpose of this is to show you which ones I have added to it. So the 3 card chain, and then we converted it into a cross layout, which is this, you know, and then what I like to do now that I have those is I'm going to, like I said, I'm just going to add some of the Tattoo Flash Lenormand. And this deck is available on my Make Playing cards, so that's a print on demand version. So we have tree, house, garden, and lady. That's funny how that showed up like that. So now you see how we have like this 3x3, you know, and we've already got the whole thing is going, okay, so this is about my resources. This is, you know, so now these cards just kind of play all upon each other. And the 3x3 is often called a mini tableau. And so if we know, okay, so there's some supply chain issues. Okay, we get it. So we know that this is like our present line. And then, you know, this is what's happening. This is what we know. This is what's overhead now. And we're going, all right, I have a home business. And this is my way of reaching the community. This is all stuff I know. This is all, everything that is above is just something I'm aware of, right? So I'm going, okay, the gifts of having this home business, the gifts of being able to work from home, share what I love with the community, with my community at large, being able to get up early and not have any, you know, deadlines, and being able to do these videos for you and doing, like, this is all this, like, I know this. The undercurrent, the 3 underneath is, it's just funny that it's just got the 2 signifiers and then the tree, and it's talking about the growth and how we can branch out. And so maybe this is something that needs to be discussed with me and my partner, as we have to talk about, okay, we're being faced with some of these little issues, like, how is this working for us? What is working against us? You know, just having this conversation about our growth. So that's reading them all horizontally, right? And so now you can read them vertically as well. And you say house, ship, and tree. And we're talking about, like, looking at this, it's saying, okay, well, maybe we're getting bigger and we need to think about expansion. You know, like, maybe this is talking about, a lot of times when you see these 3 together, you go, okay, so house is about, you know, our it could be our literal home, it could be our comforts, it could be, you know, those things that show up that you're going, okay, what does house mean to me? But house weighs down on this. So for me, when I look at this, I think about how house and ship are kind of like this home, being from home, but being able to travel and being able to branch out, being able to reach far parts of the world, right? Which I do, right? We ship all over the world. And that has been our growth. That's been our growth these past couple years, right? When you're reading this, the one at the top weighs heavier down on the other 2. The ones on the bottom are just kind of like holding it up. And we've already talked about the center line. So now we're going to talk about the future line. So this could be past, present, and future, right? So past is like, how have we built this home business? We've been able to grow because we don't limit ourselves to where we go, right? Present line is our resources have been a gift. They've really been able to help us stay, you know, stay in ourselves, basically. And then future shows that there might be some little issues within the community. Maybe there's some small problems going on, some theft, some, you know, whatever. But that's, anytime you put yourself out there in the world, that's going to happen. So the community weighs down on this and goes, okay, so garden is that space where we all meet. It's the, you know, it could be social media. We could look at this and say, okay, well, yeah, there's some issues within our community because we aren't being able to connect as well as we used to. So we're having to think different ways, you know, so that I love that it weighs down more on me. So as I'm looking at this, I see this is me and this is my partner. And I'm the one that actually does a lot with our social media, with our community. I am the face. I am the one who shares. I do this. So it's kind of like, this does weigh down on me, right? And then, so that's one way of doing it. And then you can read, these are like all the direct influences, right? And then these are passive influences. So we've got the lady with the bear and the house, and you're saying, okay, so the house and the resources and the comfort zone, like this is all stuff that is affecting the way that we branch out, right? And then this one, tree with bear and garden, it talks about branching out and growth within our own community has been a big resource. And then like by this time you start to see the redundancy that comes through, and then you go, okay, one last little summation. And so then you do the diamond and you go from here to here to here to here. So you say, okay, if this is a gift, the gift is being able to reach new shores. This, you know, the taking some more aggressive action or putting ourselves out there might cause some small problems, even though it's still a gift, you know. So this is where you end on. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you read that like that. That's a little 3x3. And that's just basic Lenny. And if you are proficient in Lenormand and you're watching me do this, please don't judge me. Like, I use Lenormand mostly in layered readings, which is what these videos have been about, but I wanted to show you how I do that, just to show you the next thing where I'm going to use my oracle card as the center and put the Lenormand around it. And for that, I'm going to use tiles. But also to get back to this, if we wanted to, we could also add, you know, say this is our chain, right? And we want to lay it down and we would say, okay, so maybe this is a 3 and we want to build upon it. We can go 4 and 5. And you could show, like, reading this as a chain again, you say, okay, our resources and our ability to be able to reach, you know, expand our horizons. Seeing supply chain issues, and then we have to think outside of the box, and that is still yet to be uncovered. You know, there's more research that needs to be done about how to deal with this. So then this card modifies this card, and this card talks about this one, and this one, you know, and so forth and so on. Like I said, the books that I recommended definitely help explain it a lot better, but that's just, again, a really brief way of showing you how I use this particular board and this particular layout. So now I'm going to show you a little bit of mixed system, and we've got the, like I said, the Living Proof Oracle, and I'm going to do this as the center card of a 3x3. And I've got the father line. So the father line to me is, when I get this card, I think about the people on my father's side of the family who have helped me become who I am today. You know, without them, there would be no me. You know, obviously my dad, and then my grandfather, and then my great-grandfather, and it continues to go on. So what message does the father line have for me as I go about today? You know, Lenormand is very much like a quick and to the point type of thing. So we did that, and now we're going to lay a tile on each side, and we have the fox. And you'll also see, and then we have the snake. You'll also see with Lenormand how there can be repetitions. There can be, like, if you use it like every day, you're gonna see a lot of the same cards come up, because it's kind of like, hey, I already told you that. Like, it's much more sassy than tarot. And so we got the bear. See, you're already seeing the resources show up. And the child. We've got mountain, dog, key, and fish. Let's see if I can pull this over and brighten it up a little bit for you. All right. So in this is just a way to show you how you can use Lenormand in conjunction with a central focus card, right? Like, say you like an oracle that you like to use, say you want to use a tarot, you can do all that, and then this is kind of give you a conversation around it. So we've got, you know, above and below, we have the child and the bear, which is talking about like when I see child, I think of something new and small and like a startup, right? Like something that needs to be nurtured a little bit in order to grow. And then we've got the resources. So my father line is telling me to look at the way that we build our resources, you know, my ancestors, and also, you know, this side of the family is where I feel I get like my work ethic from, and where, you know, they're, with the except, like my father was always a hard worker, but my grandfather was a business owner. You know, he started from nothing and built a huge business. So it's kind of like seeing that this is like my present line of like, yes, this is exactly where I came from, right? Having the ability to take a small idea and make it into something bigger within our own resources, with our financial security and our abundance. And then the past position, it seems like I'm just reading as horizontal, you know, going this way. We've got dog, fox, and mountain. And we're talking about like how I got to this is because I was willing to think outside of the box when the blockages happened, you know, and being loyal to who I am in my path, right? And then going forward, it's the key, the snake, and the fish. And just talking about access that doesn't come without a little bit of like, I see this as a big obstacle and snake as a small obstacle with a little bit of deception. And then fish is talking about money. So again, these are weighing down on these. So what is weighing down on our money right now is the fact that there's some small issues with access. You know, like there's some, maybe we're believing something that we shouldn't be believing when it comes to what we view as success and being able to unlock those doors, right? So taking a look at those and just realizing that it's not a huge issue. It could go away pretty quick. What is above me, like with the father line, and I'm thinking, you know, when you want to come back to that center, okay, what does my father line message have for me? It's talking about as long as you stay faithful and as long as you stay loyal to this small idea, it will unlock new opportunities and new doors. You know, it's basically this affirmation being like, you've got this, right? And the undercurrent, again, is getting past the blockages through the resources and seeing that there will always be enough abundance, you know. And then we can do the 3x3, you know, I still read them like a 3x3 because I like to see all the different ways that they chime in. So you say, okay, dog with fish, we have, you know, money and loyalty. So being loyal to the way that our abundance comes into my life and our lives is a way to look at this is, you know, this is a generational blessing for us. I understand that my path, while sometimes we may have struggled, I did still come from a lot of privilege. I always knew, and I still know, that if things get dire, I can always reach out to family, you know. So that's kind of like being loyal to this part of my family and this part of just being able to reach out to the resources that are available. And the mountain with the key is showing that this is how we get past these blockages. So it's just a little way to do like a check-in. You know, I'm not saying that this would be something to use for everyday use, but it's just another way that I use some of the boards and some of the spreads. And like I said, I woke up with Lenormand on my brain, so maybe this one is one that you're kind of like, not really. I'm not super inspired by Lenormand as a whole, but if you are, again, like I said, I'm linking Rana's book in the comments as well as Caitlin Matthews, and that's about it for today, and we are halfway through the month, so I will see you tomorrow with another reading and another board. If you have a suggestion of one you'd love to see, please let me know in the comments, and I will do my best to get to it before the month is out. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and goodbye.